निकलवा लेगा, वो में ऋषिकेश को बोलेगा कि इसका इन दोनों का बायोडाटा जो है प्रिंट निकलवाओ, और टिकट जो है उसको वहाँ पे रखो।
Professor Dr. Research Kumar Manoj Kumar is a professor and he has written numerous research papers in the various areas of the production and operation management, supply chain management, materials management, and this is the research paper series third of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar. This paper is published in the IGI Global Publisher in the USA, and the title of the research paper is The Learning at the Crossroads of Theory and Practice, Learning to Learn. Current and emerging research on the human learning provides a platform for the development of guiding principles of the pedagogy aimed at improving student learning outcomes and the development of a lifelong learning culture. This chapter will explore the implication of the contemporary research on human learning for pedagogical practices. However, what is clear for a high quality and future oriented educational disclosure is the need actively and continuously to draw upon, synthesize, and refine the rich array of insights available from this rapidly growing body of research. This chapter describes briefly the key learning theories often cited in the educational research. These are grouped in broad categories according to their ideas of how learning occurs. Many of these theories are complementary and can be applied equally to student learners and to teachers as learners. These chapters outlines various factors that researcher will affect learning, our developing knowledge of the human body, mind, emotions, and social behavior help us to understand better both learning and teaching. Many students would like cite to a desire to learn as the primary reason for committing your 4 years to a college education. But what do we really mean when we use the word learn? It is something we all do from the moment of birth. So most of us likely take this very complex process for granted. How many you have spent time trying to understand the meaning of learning or how it occurs? Although many of us have a general sense what it means to learn, there are often many assumptions involved. Teachers often assume that because they are teaching, student must be learning. Students assume that because they have read their text and memorized facts, they have learned something. What should we expect to learn from a college education? What are the roles of the students and teachers in the learning process? This is described in this paper. Another paper, research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the IGI Global Publishers USA, a volume in the Advances in Human Research Management and Organization Development book series. The title of the research paper is Driving Multinational Enterprises Through Effective Global Talent Management. And the editors are Khalid Tamjini, University of Sousse, Tunisia; Tahar Lajhar Eid, Al Quira University, Saudi Arabia; Aisa Ud Bolnier, Sultan Qaboos University, Muscat, Oman; Jakira Bolnier, Al Quira University, Saudi Arabia. The next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the IGI Global Publishers, United States of America. Then the title of the paper is the Identification and Measuring of Talent in Talent Management. Talent management is a crucial and important topic in the current area. The research problem and short review, furthermore, little attention has been paid so far to how specific talent definitions, operational, and measures are experienced by SS methodology. This multidisciplinary review aims to contribute to the establishment of a stronger theoretical basis for talent management by presenting a conceptual framework of talent in which the definition, operationalization, and measurement of talent and its relation to excellent performance is clarified. Analysis: we strongly advise organizations to incorporate self-assessment tools in their talent identification processes. Main results: we conclude that a valid assessment of talent requires striking a balance between organizational responsibility and self-responsibility. Many contributions of your research: we systematically introduce 11 propositions in the framework, building and fragmented insights from the literature, from the fields of HRM, gifted education, positive psychology, and vocational psychology, respectively. The next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the 14th ISME International Conference on Mechanical Engineering in Knowledge Age 2005, Delhi College of Engineering, New Delhi. And topic of the research paper is multi-objective interval programming approach for vendor selection problem in a supply chain. And the co-authors are the Professor Premrat and Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the international professor and the renowned professor throughout the world. Effect of information uncertainty in solving a vendor selection problem poses some difficulty that is addressed in this paper. VSP is modeled as a multi-objective mixed integer programming problem with interval objective coefficients. For decision makers' preference, the uncertain parameters of the objectives are represented between the intervals by the left limit, the right limit, the center, and the width of an interval. The solution of the model is given as the Pareto optimal solution, which provides quota allocation to the selected vendors against the worst case and the average case, respectively. An illustrative example is included to demonstrate the effectiveness of the proposed model. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the 14th ISME International Conference on Mechanical Engineering in the Knowledge Age 2005, Delhi College of Engineering, New Delhi. The title of the paper is The Vendor Decision with Random Parameters in Supply Chains. And the co-authors are the Professor Premrat and Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned world professor from the Indian Institute of Technology, New Delhi. In this paper, we provide a theory of supplier decision to explain firm outsourcing relationship. More specifically, we lay out a screening model in which a firm learns about the quality of its supplier through repeated interaction. As the firm determines the supplier's quality with greater precision, it gives a greater proportion of its contract to these better suppliers. We report evidence from Indian manufacturing firms that is consistent with our theory. Both frequency and volume of the transaction increase with the length of the firm's relationship with its supplier. These effects are stronger in poor contracting environments. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the 14th ISME International Conference on Mechanical Engineering in Knowledge Age 2005, Delhi College of Engineering, New Delhi. The title of the research paper was The Modeling Supplier Quota Allocation Problem in Supply Chain. And the co-authors are the Professor Premrat and the Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned professor throughout the world. And he is the professor from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, New Delhi. In 1998, public exchanges were touted to offer language corporation with substantial saving in their procurement cost. A multiple of public electronic B2B exchanges mushroomed across a large number of industries that initially seemed attractive to a large operations. Everyone from automakers to plastics and metal manufacturers jumped into a fuzzy to promote the third-party marketplace. However, the euphoria eroded quickly as firms began to recognize the challenge of making a drastic switch from traditional procurement that is primarily based on developing and managing personal relationships to one driven by the cutthroat competitive bidding in public electronic exchange environment. Subsequently, it created serious reaction in the minds of the both buyers and suppliers. Suppliers begged to join these exchanges primarily because of the perceived threat of being unduly squeezed by the large buyers. Even buyers did not like the notion of advertising to their competitors their every need. Today, a growing number of companies are turning to private exchanges to establish links with a specially invited group of suppliers and the partners. These suppliers are generally certified and preferred because of their overall ability to support the procurement needs of the buyer. Companies such as Hewlett and Packard, International Business Machine Corporation, and Walmart stores are already operating substantial private exchanges. In contrast to public exchange, a private exchange allows firms to automate their procurement and collaborate with trusted suppliers in real time without having to risk providing sensitive information to unwanted eyes. They also don't have to keep control of their precious supply chains to third parties that may also use them to serve competitors. A firm may set up a private exchange with its suppliers for a variety of reasons. Some are set up between a company and its supplier to purchase goods and track their whereabouts. Companies like Ace Hardware use the system to enhance the effectiveness of matching demand and supply by establishing visibility between suppliers, distribution centers, and retailers. Others may develop one to strengthen relationship and facilitate and consolidate commerce among subsidiaries within a company. In addition, a company may generally choose to operate through their private exchange for bulk of their procurement, but choose to participate in a public exchange as and when required. A private exchange may also be set up by a major of suppliers. The next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in Second International Conference on Logistics and Supply Chain Management, IELSM 2004, Coimbatore. And title of the research paper is the Exploring Buyer-Supplier Relationship for a Northern India Dairy Supply Chain. And the co-authors are the Professor Prem Rath and the Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned world professor, and he are the professors from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, New Delhi. The buyer-supplier relationship has generated lot of interest and has been central focus in the relationship marketing research. There is few empirical research of note which has investigated the antecedent factors affecting the relationship continuity interaction of buyers in the Northern India dairy supply chain. The central research question in this paper is defined as what factors do buyers focus to develop relationship continuously with a particular supplier in Northern India dairy supply chain. The second substation is defined as what is the relative influence of such factors on relationship continuing intention. From literature, we could identify broadly two types of the factors that affect relationship continuously intention of a buyer. The first type can be called dedication-based factors, and the second constant-based calculative factors. Interorganizational and interpersonal trust and buyer's dependence are proposed as three important mediating constructs antecedent to buyer's relationship. Continuity intentions, representing dedication-based factors and the constant-based factors respectively. In our research, the model we specifically investigate the role of the salesperson characteristics in promoting trust through trust of the salesperson. We have identified the antecedent factors of trust in the salesperson's, buyer's dependence, and relationship continuity intention in the buyer-supplier relationship. The construct identified for our research model are expertise of the salespersons, likability of the salesperson, similarity of the salesperson, frequency of visit of the salesperson, opportunistic behavior, communication with supplier, size of the supplier, willingness to customize, performance ambiguity, comparison level alternatives, and switching cost of the for the buyer. This paper proposes a model and number of hypotheses pertaining to impact antecedent factors on buyer's relationship, continuity, intention in business to business buyer relationship. Long-term buyer-supplier relationship have been the focus of much research during the past few years because managers and researchers believe that the relationship represent one of the greatest resources for developing sustainable competitive advantage for both buyers and seller. In particular, long-term buyer-seller relationship provide a firm faster access to new technology or markets, the ability to provide a wider range of goods and services, economies of scale in joint research and production, access to knowledge beyond a firm's boundaries, bridges to other firms, sharing of the risk, and access to complementary skills. Over the past decade, there is growing evidence that to be competitive, manufacturing firms are moving away from traditional approach of the adversarial relationship with multitude of suppliers to one of the forging long-term relationship with few select suppliers. Global firms such as Xerox, Motorola, General Electric, Ford, and others are reducing their supplier base and looking to a few select suppliers to help them to achieve. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the second International Conference on Logistic and Supply Chain Management, IELSM 2004, Coimbatore, an uncertainty-based methodology for dealing with suppliers. And the co-authors are the Professor Prem Bhatt and Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned world professor. And they are the professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, New Delhi, India. In this paper, we show that contracts based on the return of unsold output may play a subtler role in the supplier selection decision, in addition to permitting risk to be transferred from the supplier. An opportunity constructed return policy can be used by the supplier to overcome the informational advantage and possessed by the supplier and circumvent the adverse selection problem that would otherwise arise. We have shown in this paper that a return policy may play a more subtle role in the supplier selection decision than had previously thought. In addition to permitting risks to be transferred from the supplier, we found that an appropriately constructed return policy can be used by the supplier to overcome the informational advantage. We found that in absence of a return policy, an adverse selection problem arose if the supplier's inventory was private information and demand was uncertain. This led to second-best outcomes. However, by adding a return policy, the supplier was able to achieve first-best and extract the entire surplus. This produced contracts that were not only efficient, but which replicated easily to a multiple period environment. We will conclude the paper with a series of possible extension to the model that may more accurately capture the real forces affecting the supplier selection decision. We will present a brief analysis of each and discuss how they may impact our current results. These pass from the basis of our ongoing research in this area. However, and perhaps surprisingly, adding another dimension to the asymmetry of information does not change the optimal contract. However, we can see that this is a misleading as any profit margin is lost in the expense of taking to market. If agents can choose whether to take to market or not, then the answer may not be as straightforward. Clearly, the initial sale price or return price must be lowered. Part of the problem is that agents have different willingness to take to market given their starting inventory. Our conjecture at this time is that the To maximize the supplier's profit, the return policy will not be simply a linear transfer and requires a trade-off between the adverse selection and moral hazard incentive involved. Many suppliers could conduct a substantial percentage of their consumer businesses. There are typically a wide variety of policy and programs governing the relationship between the suppliers and its retailers. Some examples of these policies are the number one, return policy that govern how much a retailer is allowed to return of unsold items. Price protection policies that provide credit to the retailers based on the supplier price fluctuation. And third, minimum advertised price policy that restrict the prices a supplier can put on the advertisement. Next research paper of Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the international conference. The paper of the title is the vendor quota allocation in supply chain using multi-objective statistical model. The co-authors are the Professor Prem Rath and Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned professor throughout the world, and they are the professor at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. In this paper, a vendor quota allocation problem is modeled as a multi-objective mixed integer stochastic programming problem when the right-hand side value of the constants are independent normal random variables. The model is able to handle three key objectives: minimizing the cost, the rejections, and the late delivery. Deterministic constants related to the net demand, vendor quota flexibility, purchasing value of the items, etc., and under the uncertain right-hand side of the values of the constants related to the capacity and budget allocated to individual vendors. The proposed approach allowed us to handle the multi-criteria nature and the random aspects of the problem, integrating expected utility theory and the stochastic programming, which offers a means of considering the objectives and constants with stochastic parameters to obtain the solution set of the model. An illustrative example is provided which shows the effectiveness and application of the model to vendor quota allocation problem in supply chain management. A supply chain management is defined as integration of key business processes from end users through original vendors that provide products, services, and information and add value to customers and other stakeholders. The entire supply chain management encompasses issues like coordinating the ordering, production, inventory, and distribution of supplied items from the vendors. The roles of the vendors are imperative for streamlining a steady and uninterrupted supply chain management. The vendors should be able to augment the effectiveness of the supply chain management to ensure consistent delivery, reducing total system costs, reducing inventory, optimizing stream of information to the entire supply chain management. Quality is along the services of supplied resources throughout the supply chain management sector. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in AICTE sponsored international conference, Om Institute of Technology and Management, Hisar, Haryana. Page number 294 to 305, 2012. And the title of the professor is the Supply Chain Optimization Model for Biofuel Transportation System, and the co-authors are the Professor Vasisht and Professor Ram Ratan, who are the professor at the Somani PG Institute of Technology Management, Rewari, Haryana, India. This paper addresses the optimal design and location facility of biodiesel supply chains under economic and environmental criteria. The economical aspect scale is assessed by the total analyzed cost. The environmental objective is evaluated by the total greenhouse gases emissions for a whole life cycle. A mathematical model that can be used to design the supply chain and manage the logistics of a biodiesel is proposed. The model determines the number, size, and location of biorefineries needed to produce biodiesel using the available biomass Mixed integer linear programming model is proposed that takes into account infrastructure compatibility, demand distribution, as made as the size and location of biorefinery needed to produce biodiesel using the available biomass and carbon tax. An important feature of the model proposed is the account requirement of crop rotation important from the agrometric perspective. In second part of this study, Bulgaria is examined as the testing model of the model. Aimed at mitigating emissions, diversifying the energy supply and reducing dependence on the importable fossil fuels, the European Union has set emission targets for transition to the renewable energy. The Integrated Energy and Climate Change Policy adopted in 2008 defines general targets of 20% greenhouse gas reduction, 20% reduced energy use through the increased energy efficiency, and 20% share of the renewable energy. Among the available alternative energy sources that would help to respond to such challenges, biomass crops have many advantages over the conventional energy and over some other renewable energy resources. Wind, photovoltaic, etc. In particular, this is due to reduced dependence on short-term weather changes, promotion of the regional economic structures, and provision of alternate sources of employment in rural areas. Because biomass can replace fossil fuels in the transport sector, increased production and use of the bioenergy is promoted as a key to feature the targets in order to explicitly simulate a shift to the renewables in transportation. The European Commission has, in addition to the overall 20% renewable energy target, set a mandatory target of 10% renewable energy in transport by the 2020, with a transition target of 5.75% for 2010. A number of policy instruments that directly or indirectly affect the production and use of the biofuels are today in place in the European Union. Targeted biofuel policies such as exemption from or reduction of the transport fuel taxes, quotas, and blend obligations affect directly the competitiveness and market share of biofuels. This paper presents development and use of a optimization model suitable for extensive analysis of biofuel production scenarios, aimed at determination and investigation of advantageous location for biodiesel production. The main focus is on assessing how different parameters affect biodiesel production regarding cost, plant location, production volume, and the possibility of reducing global fossil emissions. Key parameters to be suited for economic policy instruments affecting biodiesel production, such as targeted biofuel support and cost for emitting. Energy prices, feedstock cost, and availability, and capital cost. The above mentioned 5.75% share of biofuels for meeting the 2010 target is used as a starting point, with the analysis focusing on boundary conditions that affect the possibility of meeting this goal. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the second international conference, Jagdish Prasad Jabbarwala, Tibbarwala University, Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan. The title of the paper, Kirloskar engine output characteristics and exhaust gases analysis using mustard oil based biodiesel. And the co-authors are the Professor Ram Ratan and Professor Vivek Vasisht of Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management, Rewari. Biodiesel is a non-toxic, renewable alternative fuel that can be used with lit or no engine modification. Biodiesel production is currently expensive, but would be more cost effective if it could be produced from low cost oils, restaurant waste, frying oils, and animal fats. These low cost feedstocks are more challenging to process because they contain high levels of free fatty acids. The objective of this study was to investigate the effect of the biodiesel produced from mustard oil feedstocks on engine performance and emissions. Two different biodiesel blends were prepared from mustard oil of different vegetable oils. The neat fuels and their 20% blend with diesel fuel were studied at a steady state engine operating condition in a 4-cylinder direct injection Kirloskar diesel engine. Although both biodiesel fuels provided significant reduction in carbon monoxide, unburned hydrocarbons, and particulate matters, oxides of the nitrogen increased by 7 and 11% for the yellow grease B20 and B100 respectively. The use of the biofuels in automotive engines has been known for a long time. In Europe and USA, the production and use of these fuels have been developing more seriously in the past 10 years. This is due to the national policy aiming security of supply and reduction of CO2 emissions. Biofuels are an important technology for reducing the emissions in transport, as they don't lead to any additional CO2 emissions released to the air. Biodiesel refers to products derived from any vegetable oil or animal fat that can fuel a diesel engine. Typical sources are canola, soybean, or palm oil. Other oils will also work. Since vegetable oils crops are planted seasonally, there is a constant supply of virgin vegetable oil. Additionally, the emissions from burning one crop of biodiesel are absorbed by the production of future crops. Therefore, biodiesel is essentially a zero emission fuel, since all emissions are reabsorbed in future crop nutrient uptake. In fact, more nitrogen is removed from the air and fixed in the soil through the growth of the vegetable oil crops that then is produced from the emissions of the combustion of it in a compression ignition engines. The fuel property of biodiesel depend on the fatty acid chains of the feedstocks used for the transesterification. Biodiesel produced from tallow, a highly saturated fat, will tend to have a higher freezing. Next research paper of Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in AICTE sponsored International Conference on Recent Trends in Computing, Mechatronics and Communication, RTCMC 2012, 25th 26 January 2012 at Om Institute of Technology and Management, Hisar. The title of the paper is the Biodiesel as a Future Fuel. And the co-authors are the Professor Ramratan, Professor Vivek Vasisht, Professor Chandrasekhar, and they are the Professor Ramratan is the PhD scholar at the JJT University, Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan. And Professor Vasisht is a lecturer, Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management, Rewari. Chandrasekhar is a professor at the Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management, Rewari. And Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is a guest faculty also at the JJT University, Jhunjhunu, Rajasthan. In the modernizing life for our comfort, there is regular consumption of fossil fuel grow of the interest in biodiesel because it have nearly similar properties to fossil diesel and can operate a diesel engine without its redesign. Biodiesel based diesel engine also emitted low amount of carbon monoxide, unburned hydrocarbon, and other air toxic gases. So biodiesel is an interested topic for research. Biodiesel can be produced from the rapeseed non-edible oil and also from tree bones oil. In our work, we use the non-edible oil, jatropha, karangia, mahua, mustard. We make biodiesel with the help of transesterification reaction in which triglyceride convert into monoglyceride in presence of a strong acid or a strong base. Conditions for transesterification process of rapeseed oil where 1.9% H2SO4 as a catalyst, methanol oil of molar ratio 2 ratio 0.1 and reaction temperature 60 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade for a period of 2.5 hours. The yield of the methyl ester was 90% in 1 hour. Production of the fatty acid methyl ester from rapeseed fatty acid distillate having high free fatty acid was investigated in our work. The final FME product made with the biodiesel quality standard and ASTM D651. Biodiesel is an alternative fuel for diesel engine. Biodiesel can be produced by chemically reacting a vegetable oil or animal fat with an alcohol, such as methanol, in the presence of a catalyst, such as a strong acid or a strong base, such as sodium or potassium hydroxide, and produces new chemical compounds called methyl esters, also known as a biodiesel. Biodiesel produced from different vegetable oils, for example, soybean, rapeseed, and sunflower, is very interested due to the following reasons. Because it can replace the fossil diesels by renewable fuel with a small decrease in performance of the engine. This biodiesel also eco-friendly due to less amount of harmful emission gases exhaust as compared to pure diesel emission. Our experiments show by a gas analyzer that the various emissions are low as compared to fossil diesel. The exhaust emissions of a total hydrocarbons are on an average 70% lower for biodiesel than the diesel fuel. The exhaust emission of the carbon monoxide CO from biodiesel are on average 49% lower than carbon monoxide emissions. Emissions of the nitrogen oxides stay the same or the slightly increased. However, some companies have successfully developed additives to reduce NOx emission in biodiesel blends. The ozone smoke from forming potential of biodiesel hydrocarbons is less than diesel fuel. Sulfur emissions are essentially eliminated with pure biodiesel. The exhaust emission of sulfur oxides and sulfates, major components of acid rain from biodiesel, are essentially eliminated as compared to diesel. So biodiesel are eco-friendly fuel. Biodiesel reduces the health risk associated with the petroleum diesel. Biodiesel emissions show decreased levels of the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and nitrated polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which have been identified as potential cancer causing compounds. In general, vegetable oil contains of the triglycerides and fatty acids. However, production cost of the biodiesel is not economically as compared to the petroleum-based fuels due to the relatively high cost of the feedstocks, which are usually edible grade refined oil. The process of the removal of all glycol and the fatty acids from the vegetable oils in the presence of the catalyst is called transesterification. With low cost feedstocks containing high amount of the free fatty acids, conventional biodiesel production by transesterification with alcohol using base catalyst is not approximated. A two-step process is then proposed. The first step of the process is to reduce free fatty acids content in the vegetable oil by esterification with methanol and a strong acid catalyst. The strong step is transesterification, in which triglyceride portion of the oil reacts with methanol and base catalyst to form ester and glycerol. The acid catalyst is generally sulfuric acid, while the base catalyst is usually sodium or potassium hydroxide. Biodiesel from the reaction is then separated into two phases by effect gravity. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in seminar on non-traditional machining process, March 2006 at the Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. The title of the paper is Multi-Objective Optimization of Magnetic Abrasive Machining. Magneto-abrasive flow machining is a new technique in the machining. The orbital flow machining process has been recently claimed to be another improvement over AFM, which performs three-dimensional machining of complex components. These processes can be classified as hybrid machining process, a recent concept in the advancement of the non-conventional machining. The reason for developing a hybrid machining process is to make use of combined or mutually enhanced advantage and to avoid or reduce some of the adverse effects the constituent process produce when they are individually applied. In almost all non-conventional machining process such as electric discharge machining, electrochemical machining, laser beam machining, etc., low material removal rate is considered a general problem and attempts are continuing to develop techniques to overcome it. The present paper reports the preliminary results of an ongoing research project being conducted with the aim of exploring technique for improving material removal in AFM. One such technique studied use a magnetic field around the workpiece. Magnetic fields have been successfully exploited in the past, such as a machining force in the magnetic abrasive finishing, used for micro machining and finishing of components, particularly circular tubes. The process under investigation is the combination of AFM and the magnetic abrasive finishing and is given the name magneto-abrasive flow machining. Magneto-abrasive flow machining is one of the latest non-conventional machining process which possess excellent capability for finish machining of inaccessible regions of a component. It has been successfully employed for deburring, radiusizing, and removing recast layers of precision components. High level of surface finish and sufficiently close tolerances have been achieved for a wide range of components. In magneto-abrasive flow machining, a semi-solid medium consisting of a polymer-based carrier and abrasive in a typical proportion is extruded under pressure through or across the surfaces to be machined. The medium acts as a deformable grinding tool, whether it is subjected to any restriction. A special fixture is generally required to create restrictive passage or to direct the medium to the desired location in the workpiece. Extrude Hone Corporation USA originally developed the AFM process in 1966. Since then, a few empirical studies have been carried out and also research work regarding process, mechanism, modeling of surface generation, and process monitoring of AFM was conducted by Williams and Rajuka during the late 90s. Their work was mainly related to outline monitoring of the AFM with acoustic emission and stochastic modeling of the process. Lovelace et al. And Kozak et al. Investigated the effect of previous machining process on the quality of surface produced by the AFM and the flow behavior of the medium used in the process. Fletcher, others reported a study on the rheological property and the effect of temperature of the medium. The next research paper by the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the National Seminar in Mechanical Engineering, MACFest 2006, Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh, 2006. The title of the research paper is a comparison of fuzzy analytical hierarchy process and analytical hierarchy process for vendor selection problem in the supply chain. The co-author is the Professor Premrat, who is a renowned world professor throughout the world. He is a professor at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Keywords are ASP, make or buy decision, fuzzy decision theory. This paper is concentrated with the vendor selection model for supply chain. We will develop a web-based two-step approach. As the first step, we use the multi-attribute analysis method using analytical hierarchy process. And the second step, we use fuzzy set ranking methodology to integrate the special decision problem that are problems of the multi-objective, multi-criteria, and multi-attributes. We propose a procedure for the comparative judgment and priority for vendor selection problem and the optimal resource allocation. This paper determines first the rank order priority list of the vendors are determined based on the ASP and the aggregate fuzzy set rank order was computed. We will develop a systematic and practical problem for simple and easy calculation of all the algorithms used in this study. We validate this model by comparative computations in various vendor selection problems for a supply chain. The purpose of this study is to develop an intranet-based solution builder for a three-step multi-attribute decision support system to analyze vendor selection problem for supply chain. Most of the conventional concepts used in the decision support system don't seem to appropriate for modeling the kind of intranet based on multi-attribute characteristics. Interestingly, in a survey of published decision analysis applications over a 20-year period, corner and concluded that 2/3 of the applications use just expected value at the decision criterion, and most applications did not use multi-structure and multi-attributed assessment analysis. Recently, multi-criteria decision analysis method is applied to the scores and weights of the multi-level structure of the decision system. Also, information network and decision analysis technology are integrated in one effective decision support system so as to increase the decision efficiency. The purpose of this study is to develop an intranet-based solution builder for a three-step multi-attribute decision support system using Fuzzy ASP. We used a three-step approach. In step 1, we used brainstorming method for idea generation. In step 2, we construct decision alternatives and implemented the individual analysis using ASP analytical hierarchy process and fuzzy set ranking methodology to overcome the spatial decision problems, those of multi-objective, multi-criterion, and multi-attribute. In step 3, we integrate the evaluation results of individual evaluation by reviewers. In this research, we developed web-based computer program and demonstrated a methodology for the decision maker to guide an intranet-based decision support system. These programs generate the decision alternatives from reviewers' ideas and evaluate each alternative by computing weighted values. Finally, it transforms several individual multi-criteria rank order list of the decision alternatives into one aggregated and prioritized rank order list using the majority rule method. A fuzzy set priority method. Considering the case of the sample application of this method, the proposed method and may be well fit to the multi-attribute decision problem rather than the methods. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in All India Seminar on Emerging Trends in the Mechanical Engineering, ITME 2005, National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra. The title of the paper is the New Strategy for Supply Chain Purchasing. The co-authors are the Professor Prem Rath and the Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned world professor in his area, and they are the professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. This article proposes a supply chain methodology to evaluate acquisition process, its factor and measures, both in the quantitative and in qualitative terms. The quality parameters are dealt by means of the ASP method. Usually, qualitative factors are not regarded in decision making process to select supplier. Accordingly, a table of factors, including the external ones that influence the selection process, is also provided. Together with their related performance measures, the proposal is illustrated through its application in a case study. That is the justification to accomplish this work is the difficulty of decision making of global supplier selection process. Aspects such as the guidelines, reliability, transportation, inventories, government policies, taxation, know-how, customer barriers, obviously, and the client's commitment are not usually considered in the decision making process. Such factors are important supply chain elements. Once properly dealt, represent a costing advantage. Considering the company's decision-making process related to their strategic element as well as the global supplier selection issues, the aim of this paper are identify the factors that collaborate in the costing process and act as drivers along the time. Supply chain factors, the value chain factors of the linkage activity, factors of external forces. To propose measures to select supplier in the global market based on the above identified factors. To consider and justify the use of the analytical hiring process to select supplier. The aim of this article is to discuss the several aspects related to the factors that affect the supply chain performance and also the actions required to set up the list of the supplier that will participate in the chain. In addition, a practical example is utilized to justify the use of a decision making such as the analytical hierarchy process in uncertainty conditions. The starting point is to define the company's value chain. According to Porter, the costing advantage is resulted if the company obtain a cumulative overall cost lower than its competitors. To better identify the involved factors, the supply chain is split into three segments: acquisition, manufacturing, and sale. This work will deal only with the acquisition process. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in National Conference on Information Technology, Operation Research and Computing, Interdisciplinary Trends in Performance Modeling, 10 to an April at the Agra. The title of the research paper is Purchasing Materials from Supplier, a Utility Theory Approach. And the co-authors are Professor Premrath and Professor Ravi Shankar, who are the renowned world professor. They are the professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, New Delhi, India. In this paper, we study the impact of the power structure, information, and demand fluctuation on the purchasing decision from suppliers in a two-echelon supply chain. We first develop and analyze the case that suppliers as the leader in the systematic information scenario and consider the way to improve the supply chain performance. Then we discuss the impact of the asymmetric information on purchasing decision from suppliers. We also explore the impact of power structure on the purchasing decision from supplier. A series of characters and principles are drawn. The keywords are the supply chain, stochastic price dependent demand, purchasing decision from suppliers, utility theory. Typically in literature on supply chain purchasing, the decisions are set by central decision maker to optimize total supply chain profit. This centralized approach requests all members' interest to the consistent or despite the conflict of the interest. The central decision maker can control the system and other members submit to the system interest optimization. Since most supply chain purchasing are decentralized, the centralized approach ignored the competition of the supply chain members. Competitive behavior between members may lower the supply chain efficiency. So the centralized optimization approach is only an approximation of the real supply chain system, and the messiness and stability is responsible. Most of the studies of the decentralized supply chain have been focused on the design of all members, sub-goals, or performance measurement schemes to mitigate the incentive problems of all members in the supply chain. In this literature, market parameters such as demand and selling prices are exogenous. However, take these factors into consideration can provide an excellent vehicle for examining how operational problems interact with the marketing issues to influence decision making at the firm level. We use the following two-echelon gaming structure. A supplier wholesales a product to a retailer, who in turn retails it to the consumer. The retail market demand is price dependent and stochastic. How should the suppliers make their purchasing decision and base size decision? The purpose of this paper is to analyze this problem. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in a national conference टाइम खत्म हो जाएगा. Is the designing as per gear and a software for checking the shapes per gear design. And the author is the Professor Manoj Kumar, the single author of this paper. In this article, a spur gear design is discussed in terms of the drive system requirement, preliminary design considerations, analysis of gear capacity by means of the strength rating, surface durability rating, score hazard rating, and a software for checking the safe spur gear design with an input variables of the maximum power to be transmitted. Module involves profile, material specification of the gear, gear ratio, number of teeth, and transmission ratio. Hence, this article should allow the engineer to arrive at more than satisfactory design of a spur gear for the industrial application. Current industry requirement for geared mechanical transmission and drive system includes simplicity, maintainability, reliability, and with an accompanying reduction in the cost. Weight, size, and noise. Spur gear design given in this article will play a key role in the attainment of these requirements and will give more than satisfactory design for various automotive, aerospace, and marine industries. A gear design is usually done by certain prerequisites, and the first prerequisite are about the initial design criteria for the drive system. It includes sources of the power, type of the loading, material specification for the gears, gear ratio, maximum power to be transmitted, speed of the driving and the driven gear, torque design, space requirement for the gear design, method of lubrication and lubricating media, method of cooling, etc. The second prerequisite involves the selection of a gear train to be used in the gear drive. The gears in the gear train can be arranged in a great variety of ways, such as simpler gear train, parallel axis, external and internal, riveted, residue approach, planetary fixed planets, planetary simple, compounded, multi-stage, special high ratio harmonic drive, motion drive. The third prerequisite for designing the gear drive are: number one, the teeth must be sufficiently strong. The teeth must be sufficiently strong to withstand the static loading as well as a dynamic loading. The teeth must be sufficiently strong to withstand the static loading as well as dynamic loading. The teeth must have a good wear resisting property. The alignment of gears as deflection of the shaft during the drive. The drive must operate without tooth interface as without undue noise, and it must resist stress concentration. One of the major design problems in the high performance equipment of the automotive, aerospace, and marine industry is the problem of arranging and fitting the gear train into the design. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in All India Seminar on Design of Production System, New Concept, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, a new methodology for solving the group technology problem. The co-author is the Professor B. Kumar, who is the renowned world professor, and he is the professor at the Regional Institute of Technology, Jamshedpur, Jharkhand. Decision making under risk and decision making under uncertainty are applied to a cellular manufacturing, especially in a machine cell formation step. The application works with part demand, which can be either expressed in probability distribution, probabilistic production volume, or cannot be expressed in probability distribution, where only the different possible values for volume that can occur are known, uncertain production volume. Decision making under risk is used to help the designer select the best cell arrangement in case of the probabilistic production volume, whereas decision making under uncertainty is used to help the designers select the best cell arrangement in the case of uncertain production volume. The objective of the design methodology has been to maximize the profit imposed by the resource capacity constants. The keywords are the decision theory, group technology, machine cell formation. The philosophy of the group technology is to identify similar parts and group them together in families to take advantage of their similarity in design and manufacturing. This technique is applied to cellular manufacturing, where dissimilar machines are grouped together into cells to produce a family of parts. This process is also called machine cell formation. The objective of this paper is to apply decision theory with cellular manufacturing, especially in machine cell formation step. The methodology will address the dynamic nature of the production environment, which can be divided into two situations: a probabilistic production volume and an uncertain production volume. The probabilistic production volume refers to the nature of product volume, which is known and can be expressed in a probabilistic distribution. The uncertain production volume, on the other hand, refers to the nature of the production volume, which cannot be expressed in a probabilistic distribution because the distribution of demand is unknown. In this situation, only the different values for volume that can occur are known, or likelihood of many particular occurrence is unknown. The expected result of this design methodology is a preliminary cellular system design which performs well and more realistically models the real demand situation in manufacturing compared to the constant demand assumption method currently in use. Decision making under risk, decision matrices. There are the four components in the decision matrix: decision or actions, state of the nature, probability of states of the nature, and payoff. Decision of the action. Decisions or action refer to the area of alternatives that the decision maker identify. States of nature refer to all of the possible situations that can happen in the future. In other words, these are major source of risk in the decision. Probability of states of nature refer to the probability distribution of the states of the nature. Next research paper of Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the National Seminar on Research Methodology in Present Scenario in collaboration with the Learning Community 2005 at the Dewan V.S. Institute of Management Studies, College of Education, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. The paper title is The Research Process 8-Step Model, a research guide for students how to write a research paper. Step 1, choose a topic. Step 2, find information. Step 3, state your thesis. Step 4, make a tentative outline. Step 5, organize your notes. Step 6, write your first draft. Step 7, revise your outline and draft. Checklist 1, checklist 2, and step 8, type final paper. Step 1, choose a topic. Choose a topic which interests and challenges you. Your attitude towards the topic may well determine the amount of effort and enthusiasm you put into your research. Focus on a limited aspect is narrow it down from religion to the world religion to Buddhism. Obtain a teacher approval for your topic before embarking on a full-scale research. If you are uncertain as to what is expected of you implementing the assignment or project, reread your assignment sheet carefully or ask your teacher. Select a subject you can manage. Avoid subjects that are too technical, learned, or specialized. Avoid topics that have only a very narrow range of sources material. Step 2, find information. Surf the net, use of the search engine and other source tools as a starting point. Pay attention to the domain name extension, educational institution, government or non-profit organization. ORG means non-profit organization. EDU means educational institution. Government means government. These sites represent institutions and tend to be more reliable, but the watchful of possible potential bias in some government sites. Be selective of .com commercial sites. Many .com sites are excellent. However, a large number of them contain advertisements for products and nothing else. Be wary of the millions of personal home pages on the net. The quality of these personal home pages vary greatly. Learning how to evaluate websites critically and to search effectively on the internet can help you eliminate irrelevant sites and waste less of your time. Depending on the information you are searching, the internet is not always the easiest nor the first place you should try, especially if you don't have ready access to the computer. Some students unnecessarily line up for a computer to find the meaning of word when they should. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the National Conference, the Institution of Engineers, Alwar Local Center, Government Polytechnic College Campus, Alwar, Rajasthan. That paper title, Minimizing Total Delay in a Shop with Multi-Assembly Product Using Timed Battery Net. The co-authors are the Professor Vasisht, Professor Ram Ratan, Professor Arya. They are the professor at the Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management, Rewari. Application of virtual technology in engineering activities for automatic production technology determines present and future of computer-aided engineering. One of the engineering-related areas in virtual technology in virtual manufacturing, where most of the prototype developments of mechanical parts have been moved into virtual models of the engineering objects as parts, manufacturing processes, manufacturing equipment, production system, and production schedules are created, analyzed, and improved during model-based engineering activity. Models of the mechanical parts are applied for creation of machining-based manufacturing processes because machining is the only physical shape adding method available for computer controlled creation of shapes. Any other manufacturing method use tools carrying shape of the parts. Paper discusses several important issues about concept and methodology of part manufacturing process. Modeling include representation of generic manufacturing process, information in multi-level manufacturing process model, associative deformation of part and part manufacturing models, application of the feature principle in the manufacturing process modeling, and creating manufacturing process model instanced by evaluation of battery net model representation. The keywords are the product modeling, feature-based modeling of engineering objects, manufacturing process modeling, associative modeling, generic modeling, modeling by the battery net. In decision of engineers in engineering network global system, advanced information technology is the only source of the quick and situation reflective situation. Three main challenges in the manufacturing of the mechanical parts are intelligent computer controlling of machining, machining of advanced and intricate shapes, and flexibility of the design and manufacturing. Machining process variants are to be composed for the same individual part. The engineer who is responsible for part design is not able to understand all manufacturing consequences of a part related decision. Flexible machining process, planning and manufacturing system are required to accept frequent changes of part design and production schedule. As a contribution to the development efforts in the above outlined area, an approach, a concept, and a methodology are proposed in this chapter for modeling of machining process utilizing virtual technology. Implementation of the methodology is considered to be in CAD/CAM environment with open architecture where produced are available for features, associativity, constant and rule definition based part modeling and computer control machine tool programming. The proposed modeling is a contribution to fill the gap that still exists between part design and part manufacturing. Earlier analyses by the authors in the PatriNet based manufacturing process modeling and planning in the virtual technology based associative integration of engineering activities are considered as a preliminary of the reported work. Paper discusses several important issues about concept and methodology of part manufacturing. Paper discusses several important issues about the concept and methodology of part manufacturing, process modeling, including representation of the generic manufacturing process information in multi-level manufacturing process model, associative definition of part and part manufacturing models, application of the feature principle in manufacturing process modeling, and creating manufacturing process model instance by evaluation of the Petri net model representation. Issues in the proposed modeling. Information flow in an engineering system is streamlined by integration of the related design, manufacturing, and production models in a complete and consistent product model. However, proven machining related computer modeling activities is still focused on production system and production plans. At the same time, computer-aided planning of machining process uses simple heuristic rather than systematic and integrated model description. Integration in this concept refers to relationship definition between description of part, analyzes result for part, assembly, manufacturing process, MRP, production schedule, production department, machining tool, cutting tool, and the control system. Next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in a reputed journal. The title of the paper is the biodiesel production from mustard oil for quality assessment and optimization. The co-authors are the Sudhir Pandey, Shyam Mohan, and Ram Ratan. They are professor at the Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management. Firstly, solvent extraction of oil from mustard oil was investigated for biodiesel preparation. This extraction was optimized by using box, bank and design and response service methodology. A quadratic polynomial equation outlined to predict the oil yield of 63% weight was found to be solvent to kernel ratio of 15:1, reaction time of 4.4 hours, and reaction temperature of 47 degrees centigrade using fixed stirring rate 200 rpm, and then biodiesel preparation of mustard oil with in situ transesterification using this optimum condition of oil extraction was taken. Molar ratio of methanol to oil 100:1, NOH catalyzed 1%, reaction time 60 minutes, reaction temperature 60 degrees centigrade, and stirred speed 600 rpm gave 90% of the biodiesel yield. The keywords are the box Bankan, in situ transesterification, mustard oil, and response surface methodology. Diesel fuel plays an important role in the industrial economy of a country. These fuels serve for a major part of the transport sector, and their demand is steadily increasing. Depending an alternative fuel which is technically feasible, economically competitive, environmentally acceptable, and readily available. Biodiesel is chemically a monoalkyl ester of long-chain fatty acid derived from renewable biological sources such as vegetable oils and animal fats. As the demand for the vegetable oil increased tremendously in recent years, it has become impossible to justify the use of these oils for fuel production. Fortunately, non-edible vegetable oils, mostly produced by speed-bearing trees and shrubs, can provide an alternative. Mustard oil is a drought-resistant shrub or tree. The seed is the part of the plant with the highest potential for utilization. It contains between 40% and 60% oil and between 20% and 30% protein. Formal esters were found to be responsible for purgative, skin irritant effects, and thermoporation. Transesterification method, one of the biodiesel preparation, is a chemical reaction between the triglyceride and alcohol in the presence of the catalyst. In this reaction, triglyceride, as the main components of the vegetable oils, react with an alcohol, produce fatty monoalkyl esters and glycol. The transesterification Reaction can be catalyzed by acid, alkalis, or enzymes. The other biodiesel preparation processes are supercritical and subcritical alcohol transesterification, microwave assisted transesterification, and in situ transesterification. In situ transesterification is a biodiesel preparation method in which the oil bearing material or biomass contact with acidified or alkalized alcohol directly instead of reacting with the pre-extracted oil and alcohol. This method combines extraction and transesterification process into one step. This could reduce the long production sequence associated with pre-extracted oil. The objectives of this study are to investigate the optimum condition for the oil extraction of mustard oil using solvent extraction, to study the optimization of biodiesel preparation from mustard oil using in situ transesterification method, and analyze the product. Raw material. Freshly harvested mustard oil seeds were obtained from Agricultural Research Center. The seeds were selected according to their condition, where damaged seeds were discarded before seeds in good condition were cleaned, desealed and dried to 0.2% moisture content. Chemicals, 96% of N-hexane as solvent, methanol 95%, NOH 96% purity, and phosphoric acid 85% concentration. Pure chemical industries were purchased from local market. Oil extraction. The oil contents of the mustard oil and whole seed were investigated with solvent ratio range of 5:1 to 20:1. Reaction time of 2 to 10 hours. 3 extraction solvents including N-hexane, ethyl acetate, and isopropylene were tested to extract oil from the mustard oil. From this study, solvent ratio of 15:1, reaction time of 6 hours, and N-hexane give higher oil yield than the other condition. Firstly, the seed mustard oil has grounded by using a grinder. Then 5 gram of the ground mustard oil and 115 million of N-hexane. Mass ratio of solvent to kernel 15:1 were added into the 2-necked flat bottom flask equipped with condenser and magnetic stirrer with reaction condition of 200 rpm stirring speed. 50% of reaction temperature. After reaching to the desired extraction time, the solid and the liquid mixture was separated with filter paper. The filtrate was then evaporated by concentration to recover an action. The oil yield was calculated as follows: percentage of the oil yield, weight in the gram of the extracted oil, weight in the gram of the mustard oil. The next research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in a reputed journal. The title of the paper is The Parameters Effect, the Biodiesel Production, a Review. The co-authors are the Professor Ramanathan, Professor Ravi Kumar, Professor Syam Mohan of the Somani PG Institute of Technology and Management, Rewari. Biodiesel is a fuel consisting of the long chain fatty acid alkyl esters made from renewable vegetable oils such as colza, used cooking oils, algae, or animal fats. Biodiesel is a well-known alternative renewable fuel which provides less emission when compared with the conventional fossil-based diesel fuel. In this study, biodiesel was produced from non-edible colza oil and methanol using MgO and non-particles as catalyst. Nano-MgO powder was synthesized and analyzed with X-ray diffraction prior to use as a catalyst. Average crystalline size of MgO was 60 m. Optimum condition for these reactions were 3.3% MgO as catalyst, MEOH oil of molar ratio 15:1, and reaction temperature 62 degrees centigrade for a period of the 3 hours. The yield of the methyl ester was 85% in 1.5 hours and 91% in 3 hours. Nomenclature is the B10, mixed fuel containing 10% biodiesel, B20, mixed fuel containing 20% biodiesel, B100, mixed fuel containing 100% biodiesel. So keywords are the biodiesel, colza oil, transesterification, MgO, non-catalyst. The synthesis of the biodiesel, fatty acid methyl esters from various sources including animal fats and plant-based oils have attracted considerable attention. The main reaction in biodiesel production is transesterification of fatty acid that leads to the fatty acid methyl esters. The transesterification reaction requires an alcohol as a reactant and a catalyst. Biodiesel has the potential to replace a fraction of the petroleum diesel because it can be mixed with the petroleum diesel fuel in various ratio and can be used in any ignition engine without the need for motor modification. Producing and using biofuels for transportation offers alternatives to fossil fuels that can help provide solution to many environmental problems. Using biofuels in motor vehicles help reduce greenhouse gases emissions. Full cycle analysis indicates that an average biofuel emits less CO2 than conventional fuels. Scientists believe CO2 is one of the main greenhouse gases contributing to the global warming. Neat biodiesel, 100% biodiesel, reduces CO2 emissions by more than 75% over petroleum diesel. Using a blend of the 20% biodiesel reduces CO2 emission by the 15%. Due to the low or zero content of the pollutants such as sulfur in biodiesel, the pollutant SO2 emission of biofuel is much lower than the emission of the conventional fuels. Using biodiesel in a conventional diesel engine substantially reduces emissions of the unburnt hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, sulfates, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, nitrated polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and particulate matter. These reductions increase as the amount of the biodiesel blended into diesel fuel increases. The best emissions reduction, as seen with B100, the use of the biodiesel decreases the solid carbon fraction of a particulate matter. Since the oxygen in the biodiesel enables more complete combustion of the CO2 and reduces the sulfate fraction, biodiesel contains less than 24 ppm sulfur. Emissions of the nitrogen oxides, NOx, increase with the concentration of biodiesel in the fuel. Some biodiesel produces more NOx than others, and some additives have shown promise in modifying the increases. Next research paper of Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar is published in the reputed journal. The title of the paper is the fuzzy multi-criteria decision-making method for vendor selection. Vendor selection with imprecise information is a difficult task in the management of a supply chain. In a real-life situation for vendor selection problem, many input information related to various vendors are not known with certainty. For example, how the vendor will respond to a new design cannot be ascertained with the certainty. At the time of selecting a vendor, value of many criteria are expressed in precise terms like very poor in relatively, hardly any rejected quantity, capacity of a vendor X is somewhere between 2000 to 2500. Such vagueness in the critical information cannot be captured in a deterministic problem, and therefore the optimal results of these deterministic formulation may not serve the real purpose of the modeling problem. This paper presents a fuzzy multi-criteria decision-making method developed to support the vendor selection. These are all the research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar, and the remaining papers will be shown in the next series of the research paper of the Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar. Thank you.